Welcome to this short presentation about the interface between ProStructures and STAAD Pro. My name is Gernot Jeremien. I'm a Senior Application Engineer for ProStructures at Bentley Systems. If you want to exchange projects between ProStructures and example of STAAD Pro, because this could be anything else like Ecosystem Building Designer, any RAM application, Revit, STAAD from Global or simple IFC. We are talking at Bentley about ISM, Integrated Structural Modeling. And before I start to show it to you, I want to clarify a few things. First of all, we have to deal with some enemies, so solutions which don't like each other very much. So we are talking about a physical model and an analytical model. In the physical world, we have objects with physical information and insertion accesses, continuous objects, stuff like that. So if a column and a beam, if they come together, the column, for instance, goes through. We are inserting the beams, top of steel, and stuff like that. In an analytical world, each time two objects come together, they will be separate. We have everything inserted on center lines. So naturally we have to bring these worlds together. So this is the main purpose, or one of the main purposes of ISM, to translate between a physical and an analytical solution. In ISM we don't create each time a new exchange file which has to be imported and exported. In ISM we create a data pool, or let's call it ISM repository, and each of our applications will write and read in and out of this ISM file. So the process in all of our applications, all of the applications which support ISM, is basically the same. You start a new project, you create an ISM data pool. In any other application, you can create a new project by reading this ISM information. And if you do a modification anywhere, you write this information back into the ISM data pool and the data will be updated. And then you can go to any other application, and there, instead of creating a new file, you get the update out of the data pool. And this includes other applications which are not from Bentley. So okay, this is now a good time to have a look at ProStructures. Let's switch to it. Here's a small model which I've created. It's very simple. We want to keep it simple, then you see a little bit better what's going on. So my first recommendation is, before we start dealing with the ISM interface, I would switch off everything which is not important for the exchange process. If in this case I want to go from ProStructures, in this case ProSteel, to STAAD Pro, and STAAD Pro I want to do some analysis. I have here some purlins on top which are not important for STAAD Pro. So I can go in here and can say these purlins, I just switch them off. So I highly recommend, if you dealing with these kind of interfaces, that you organize your model, that you work only with objects which are important for your exchange process. If we have a look now at ISM, we have in each application which supports ISM these four commands. We can create the repository, we can create a new project from the repository, we update the repository, or we write an update to the repository. So all these commands are the same in all applications. So if you go to STAAD Pro or if you go to Ecosystem Building Designer, it's always the same process. So in this case, we want to start from scratch. I want to create a new repository, and I'm going to create a new one. Let's say ISM Exchange, for instance. Selecting the view. Okay, that's good. And now we are creating a new database. We say database. It will ask for information which can't be Exchange would say there's a material which is unknown. I overjumped that for the moment. In STAAD Pro, usually all the materials are called, in this case, steel. So I leave it as it is. In addition, it will ask for shapes which are unknown. So in this case, there is an HE400A and it is an ISM database. That's fine. So here is an angle which is unknown. So I can go in here and say I want to select this shape from any database. So I have to just find the correct database, and then I have to find the shape which fits best. So in this case, that will be in the central database, and there is an 100 by 100 by 10. Here it is, and let's say OK. So now it's assigned, and I say OK. And now it's loading the ISM change management. The whole change management, I've told you that we're creating a database file or repository, how we call it. And the beauty of the whole ISM interface, it's graphical. So I see what's going on. It's transparent. I can rotate. So this is the project that I'm exporting. I get my base plates. I get all my shapes in here. I have now my angles. And here I have a list of all objects which will be let's say created, in this case, into the database. So let's say I select those and say update my data pool. I can give it a description. Let's say created with ProSteel, and let's say OK. Done. OK, was successfully, and it says maybe I should go in here and I should save my file, and I'm going to do that. So the next step is I want to switch to STAAD Pro. I've created here a new project, and in STAAD Pro I've told you they're the same commands. Here's ISM, say create, new from, update, and update from. In this case I say I want to create a new project from a repository. So I can go in here. It's asking now for this ISM file. Here we go. And let's say just run it. And like before, it will create or open this ISM file, and it's graphical. I see what's going on. I say select all, accept it, and say update my STAAD profile. And again, if there's anything in there which has to be linked, so in this case there is my angle 100 by 100 by 10. It's a European shape. I can go in there and select it out of the STAAD Pro database. I just have to find it. Here it is, 100 by 100 by 10. Let's say OK. That was successfully. I don't get any errors, no warnings. That's very good. And here is my model. So the first thing that you may notice is if we switch to ProSteel back, you see that my beams are inserted top of steel and the columns are extended. So if I switch to my STAAD Pro model, you would see that we are working here with offsets. So the location of these shapes are where they should be. Here are my bracings and so on. So I could go in here into STAAD Pro and do some analysis. I want to do the change manually to show you a little bit better what's going on. So if I have a look at the ProSteel file, so we have here an IPE 270. So if I go in here and just double click it and go in there, so that's the same shape. I want to change that. I want to have an IPE, let's say that's a 270, let's say in IPE 330. So I change that. So now it's a 330. Another thing is what I want to do. I take this shape and I want to move it, and I want to move it a little bit up, a little bit by 500, and say okay, yes, I want to do that. So now it has been moved up. So I changed the size, I moved the position, and now I could go in here and do anything as like deleting or adding some stuff, but let's say that's okay. Let's leave that for the moment. So now when I've done some modifications, I go in here and say ISM. Now I say update the repository. So I'm running this process. Yes, I want to update. And now it's loading the structure synchronizer. So this is how this whole interface has been called. And you see that immediately this object has been changed. So and everything else will stay the same. So I can select all, I can accept this, and I can make a preview. So this is how it will look like, and you see this one has been moved up, and I say update and say modified with STAAD Pro. I can say it's a major change and say okay. And that's it. No errors, no warnings. That's very good. So let's switch back to Pro Structures. So here I could have gone on with my modeling. I could have done anything else, but now I noticed that something has been changed. So I can say give me the update from the repository. So I want to do that, and now it's going in there. So material question, that's the same. You see the mapping is still the same. And now it's loading the ISM change management. So it's now comparing the data pool with my actual model and say, okay, this has been changed, so I can select those, select all, and accept the changes. I could go in there and say, I don't want to accept these changes. I could reject them, but in this case, you want to do that. And say, okay, update my ProSteel file, and you see that now the beam has been moved up, and it's now an IPE 330 instead of a 270. So the only thing is that my connections, they didn't get updated because they haven't been part of the ISM. But if I go into the connection and say I just force an update, so the connection is still there between the connection and the beam. So a simple update will do. So change do any modification and say okay, and we are done. And my columns are still my columns, and everything is nice and shiny. So what will happen now if I do modification here? So let's say I want to add something. I want to add anywhere a beam. So let's say I go to my options here, just want to switch something on. I go to ProSteel and I say I want to insert a beam 270 between 2 points, and I say between this point and that point, and accept it. I could do some connections, but I leave it like it is. And now I go in here into ProStructures and say now I want to update my repository, so I go the other way around. So okay, let's do that. We'll ask for the material again. The beauty of that is I can have different materials in the two applications. So you can say you have anything in Pro Structures, and on the other side everything is called steel. So we will translate between these information. So let's say I want to select those, I want to accept these modifications, I want to make a preview, and you see now this object has been added. And I'm going to update the repository. I could give it information again, update it with ProSteel, and say OK. Has been done. Yes, I have to save here, do that. Switch back to STAAD Pro. And again, you guess it right. I say I want to update from the repository. Start that process. It's loading the ISM structure synchronizer again. Select all, accept. I could say preview. Here's my new shape. Update. Let's move that aside. It should appear here. Here we go. And we are done. So that's the whole ISM process is going. Instead of creating new files all the time, it's really a round-tripping solution. You can go from here to EcoSim, to RAM, to Revit structure, to Global Airstab. And here it will really keep everything in sync. You can work in both many applications, and the whole process hopefully is much clearer now to you. So that was the ISM or exchange process between ProStructures and STAAD Pro via ISM, integrated structural modeling. There's so much more to say about it. You've seen that the whole ISM process is based on an ISM viewer or synchronizer. So it gives you a graphical interface which will show you what's going on. And there's so much more. So you can create 3D PDF files so that you can review on an Acrobat reader what's going on. There's an IFC interface implemented into the synchronizer. And again, the beauty is that you see what's going on. There's a revision management. You notice that I typed in what the modification was. So you can be very specific there. For instance, I've added something, I've deleted something, and I've changed something. And we keep track of all the modifications. So you can go later on in there, you could review those modifications. You could compare graphically the differences between modifications, and you can go in there and later on, at any time, you can reject or undo modifications someone has done. And there's an ISM editor where you can go in there and you can modify this ISM file. You can change shape types, you can change materials and stuff like that. So everything what you can do with an application can be done with this editor as well. So thanks a lot for your time. If you have any more questions, contact us. Again, my name is Gernot Jermin. I'm a senior application engineer at Bentley Systems. Thanks a lot. Goodbye.